social media has kind of progressed, that's become more and more important. We're not just identifying with the product, we're identifying with the brand. But I think part of the sentiments which have kind of come up on social media is, why does this matter anyway? And so there's a tweet by, and I can't read the name of the person who tweeted it because it's a bit of a rude handle. And he says,
I
well,
think I know who it is. Carry on.
yes, it's gaslighting, but yes, fine, they haven't uh, um, been entirely honest in saying that they're the first, but it's not going to change anyone's life. It's an ice cream flavor. Why on earth should we care? And is acknowledging that Kofi, for example, created this in 1980, is it in any way going to change anybody's circumstance in a material way?
Akil, I think what it comes down to is this being a lesson to all of us to be mindful about the things that we consume, and to have honest conversations with ourselves about to what extent brand values are things that we take into consideration when we support particular brands. I think, especially in the past couple of years, as conversations around ethical consumption and sustainable purchasing and making informed choices when it comes to the power that you have as a consumer, as all of these conversations have been coming more and more to the fore, I think here we have yet another example of a testing situation. So, of something that is here for you as a consumer to say, think about how what has happened here aligns or doesn't realign with what you stand for, what you believe in, what you're happy to support with your money. Because ultimately, the thing is, people are free to make their own choices, right? I mean, if you go and buy Paul's after we have this conversation, I don't think you're an awful person, but I have my views about what I'll do with my support for the brand, right? And I think that's another thing that we have to realize is that we sometimes we conflate a lot of things at the same time. And so, for example, what I saw or what I experienced over the weekend is a lot of people um, saying ridiculous kind of trolly things to me on social media, which um, which to me was a bit silly because all I did was express an opinion about ice cream. I didn't tell you how to live your life. And yet, here you are making racist, sexist comments, trying to kind of delegitimize the things I'm saying because a woman is saying it, or a brown person is saying it, or a young person who has on their hands to complain about things is saying something, right? And the thing is, it's not useful to characterize people as something and use that as a reason to delegitimize them, right? And also, it's not that deep. So, yes, I express an opinion on Twitter, and yes, I stand by what I say fully. But by no means am I telling you that if you don't follow this thing that I said, you are a bad person.
Yeah, I think we're almost at the time of conclusion of this discussion, and it really begs the question around brands themselves and how they respond to crises like these, which can crop up the more social media becomes a place for us to engage. Because, for example, if you had an issue with a brand 10 years ago, maybe something didn't taste nice, or you didn't like the branding, or a Nando's advert was offensive to you or something, you would tell your family and the thing would be over. Because we have a place to discuss this, a public sphere on social media, issues blow up a lot larger. And now brands need to actually check themselves as to who runs their pages. And we're assuming that it's not Paul and there's some third party that was irresponsible. Whether we're right in that assumption, I don't know. But I do believe that even after that statement, even that statement could have been accepted. It could have been set aside. But those Instagram sharing of people's opinions and commenting and responding to that was absolutely horrible. And I think the worst one was for me when somebody responded to Paul's ice cream saying, what's the issue? I haven't, I obviously missed it, I haven't seen. And they said, we're being cancelled. Where have you been, and
Yeah,
and that's such a
mocking everyone.
yes, it's like spicy, it's silly, it's young, it's young in a negative way. It's almost like immature, like
Mm,
it's not intellectually engaging at all. And it then, if they were apologetic in any other of the responses, it reduces those apologies to something performative, and by them saying that we've been cancelled, so it begs then the sincerity of all the other apologies. So
mhm,
my question to Paul is, in their absence, and we have been trying to get a hold of them, and they were not able to speak to us today. Whether they will in future will be yet to be discovered. But would be, who is in charge of your social media? Is it the person at the top of the food chain, or is it someone that is merely just there and that could be replaced tomorrow? And are you going to replace them tomorrow? And then also to other brands, how do you how do you go about training your people to actually respond to these type of things, which are happening live and will require a very rapid response should you want to save your brand? My opinion, Aisha, I'm not sure what you think,
mhm,
but the brand has been done down by whoever is behind those fingers on social media. That's I don't know what you think.
mhm. Yeah, no, I think, as you rightfully say, when you create your brand, social media is such a big part of that. And people have been watching this unfold over the past couple of days on social media. And the rare occasions when Paul has come to the table, it's been really, um, people have been like, what are you saying? Or what are you doing? And they're not taking any of the feedback that they're getting seriously at all, which really makes you again wonder, to what extent are you happy with us when we're a consumer market who's going to give you our money, only catering to us if you don't want to hear us when we're giving you feedback on the products that you supposedly created for us. So don't treat us like we're just this market who's going to throw money at you. We do have brains and we do have critical thinking skills, and we are trying our best to engage with you respectfully using them. It's a pity that you choose not to do the same.
And we also have Verfi ice cream elsewhere that you can get if this doesn't go well. Like, it's not to say that
I mean,
they have a hegemony over, you know.
So I
yeah,
think
for sure.
just before we cut to an ad break and chat to Dr. Valley, ultimately Paul's is a business, right? And the value behind any brand is or the value behind any branding, any advertising is what business is that going to bring to the underlying company. Do we think that these sorts of feuds in reality actually are going to have any impact on Paul's business? Because I suppose that would direct, and this is, purely capitalist, but that would direct whether or not they should care about what's happening on Twitter and whether they should care about whether they're being cancelled.
Definitely, Akil. I think it's interesting because this is a moment for publicity, right? And any publicity is good publicity, so the maxim goes. And so it's definitely going to be interesting to see how this reflects over the next while. Because the thing is, as much as social media holds power, there's also no real telling of how much it will translate. And so it's definitely something we're going to have to keep an eye on or keep a finger on the pulse on.
Yeah, I think the same can be said for election results. Holding leadership accountable. In the Muslim community, holding ulama, accountable when something goes wrong or something publicly said, even in the media sphere in the Muslim community as well. So yeah, Aisha, I think we hold our thumbs, we hold our Twitter thumbs, and we'll decide, I suppose, whether we bump into each other in the queue at polls. That will be determined in the future. But let's hope to see more responsible marketing in future, and also just people respecting people's views in disagreement. I think that is the biggest issues that human beings have lost the lack of have grown to lack respect for one another in disagreement
Yeah.
and not enjoying the debate. And I think there's such a beauty in sharing ideas. and sharing ideas over food as well, as good as food with Perfy may be. But we thank you for your time, Aaisha, and this is where we wrap up, and we will be joined later by Dr. Naeem Valley speaking about Stoicism. But for now, we thank you so much for your time, and we hope to see some more respectful engagement on Twitter with yourself, obviously being part of that in future.
Thanks so much, Akil. Yeah, like you say, definitely a lesson for brands and a lesson for consumers as well, to all of us to make informed choices. So yeah, thanks guys. It was a good chat. We'll speak again, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum. To those listening, please don't run away. We will be joined by Dr. Naeem Valley quite soon after the break. And after that, the Quantum Game Reserve has 2 tickets for a getaway reserved for winners of a competition that you can enter if you find out later about it, and can hear contestants contesting for the correct answers to certain trivia around our country. So please do stay tuned for both the interview with Dr. Naeem Valley as well as the competition. For now, that's it from us. Please come back after the break.